Planning your next post-COVID vacation? Be prepared with the help and expert advice of the Travel Guys.
Hello and welcome to the Travel Guys. I'm Mike Hogan and I'm your host for the next 25 minutes talking of what's new in the world of travel. Today we're talking about the wonderful Cook Islands. And I'm delighted to have as guest in the studio today, I've got Mr. Nick Henry, the General Manager of Tamanu Beach Resort on the wonderful island of Aitutaki.
Kia ora, Mike.
Welcome. Great to have you here. And also Kave Tamariki, who's the owner of Ariki Adventures, a unique adventure holiday operation on the main island of Rarotonga.
Kia ora, Mike. And
great to have you both here. Starting with you, Nick, the Henry name is synonymous with tourism in the Cook Islands. I've actually met your wonderful dad a few years ago, and I can tell you a couple of stories there. But how did you get involved yourself?
Tourism runs in the family, so just as a little boy we were already involved in the game. Dad was often hosting various events. He started his tour company, buses, that sort of thing. So by the time we got our driver's license, we were tour guides. It's been a long and exciting journey with tourism. Back in the heydays and the not so heydays, we've seen some good times and some not so good times in Cook Island tourism. But so thrilled today to have visitors coming back to the Cook Islands. Really special.
It must be. I spoke to it. By the way, viewers, there was an excellent tourism expo put on by Cook Islands over the weekend. It was great to see so many people there. It was so pleasing to see. You guys must have been buzzing. It really was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, you've just briefly about your dad. I'll probably call you.
Okay.
I'll probably call you Hugh. I'm trying not to, I promise. But if I can briefly say, I mentioned this to you before. I was a travel agent back in the 80s, and I brought a group of 40 up to the Cooks. And I'll never forget this. It was the ear, nose, and throat surgeons, but their official name was the Otorhinolaryngological Conference. So you can imagine the poor locals trying to get their heads around that. But my contact was Hugh Henry. I'd heard vaguely about this Mr. Hugh Henry, and to say he did everything would be an understatement. He met me at the airport. He was the escort. He welcomed the group at a function that night. Then they had a dine and dance, and who should come out and be the crooner? But it was Hugh, who picked us up the next morning and took us to his official residence. It was Hugh's residence. And then lo and behold, if he didn't say to me, "Oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm commentating the rugby game. Would you like to be my comments man?" I go along there, and this was quintessential of the Cooks. Was the rugby game? Excuse me. Along came the Zambake, or the first aid man, who was actually the Prime Minister.
Yes.
And in his Ford LTD, tucks his trousers into his boots, grabs his first aid kit, and he's running the sideline. And Hugh and I are sitting on the back of a flatbed truck, and one of the teams had 8 brothers and cousins, all with the same surname, and no numbers. How your father did that is absolutely extraordinary.
He just made up names when it came to commentary.
I think he might have done too.
It made it easier.
Yeah. So you've been involved in tourism pretty well all your life. How did Tamanu Beach start?
That was a dream of our dad's, to have a beachfront accommodation, to be able to share that with his good friends, family, and of course with our visitors. That was really Dad's vision. In fact, we've still got a sketch of his on the wall in my brother Mike's office, and that sort of reminds us of where we started. I was at university. I used to come home in the holidays and clean the beach section. I mean, it was all jungle back then.
Wow. And
so, chainsaws and bush knives and everything. We cleared it all out. And I remember Dad, he had this weird design in his mind. It was octagonal, And, I mean, how are you going to put a bed in a room that's got 8 sides? It was just ridiculous. But we put the first one up and, we took it down eventually because it just wasn't going to work. But, yeah, that was Dad's vision. The land, through the family, we're so blessed to have that piece of land. The land is called Aretamanu. All the land in the Cook Islands is given a name.
Okay.
And so Aretamanu is the mahogany home.
That's
and so, that's where Tamanu Beach came in. So, we've run that theme throughout the hotel. When you come to visit, you'll see in the bathrooms and in the bars and everything, all the timber tops, right? It's all mahogany, local Tamanu wood that we've milled ourselves and then prepared, and it's beautiful. But you guys got to come and see. Don't take my word for it.
I've stayed with you a few years ago, and I can vouch for that. But tell me, Ariki, tell me about Kave, about you. How did you get involved in this business, and what's your background?
So yeah, I did 28 years in the military here in the Royal New Zealand Air Force.
Okay.
So I'm recent in terms
Yep.
of tourism. But Mum and Dad were born and raised in Rarotonga. Then they came back to New Zealand, had the kids, had enough, left us behind, and went off. But I always knew I was going to go back to Rarotonga eventually. So about 30 years, I built a house over there, which would kind of cemented my plan of going home.
Yep.
And we moved back 2015, my wife and I. And we built a few studio bungalows and then started our adventure company. Kiteboarding's my passion, so we have a kiteboarding school and we introduced night paddling. And the adventure company's kind of just grown since then. So for us, it's all about delivering a fantastic experience. We're not as big as the corporates. We're kind of still a little family kind of orientated organisation, but it works, and we're and we've done relatively well and grown in that time. So
And then COVID came.
and then COVID came, slowed us down, that's for sure.
Yeah, so can you just quickly run through the range of tours that you've got going, Carmen?
Yeah, so we have everything from the hardcore adrenaline to the nice and calm type of activities. So our night paddle is something that's very family orientated. So we take everyone from little kids, they jump on our paddle boards, they order dinner at our cafe. We've got a cafe called the Flying Turtle Cafe, so they order dinner first. Then they go out with our crew. We teach them how to paddle. 80% of our people have never paddled before, so don't have to worry about that. We take you over to one of our motus, Koromiri, out in the lagoon, get you to stand up if you want to, and then when it goes dark, we turn the lights on, neon lights in the lagoon.
That'd be
beautiful.
spectacular. That'd be
Absolutely.
great. Okay.
And once they finish that, they're back to the cafe for dinner. It's all ready for them, and that's one of our tours, the night paddle. But I guess the biggest thing that we have there is our snorkeling tours.
Yeah.
We have 3 different types of snorkeling tours, all using the sea scooter, which is an amazing
I
bit
want
of
to talk.
kit.
I'll talk about that later when we
Okay,
get to talk,
all right.
because I think that looks really great.
Yeah, they're lots of fun.
Okay, we'll take a short break now, and then we'll be back with the travel guys talking the wonderful Cook Islands. Welcome back to the Travel Guys. We're talking the Cook Islands, and as my guests today we have Nick Henry from Tamana Beach Resort and Kave Tamariki from Ariki Adventures. And we're talking to you, Kave, about how you started. You're in the Air Force, you said, for 27 years in New
28
Zealand?
years I did in the
Great.
military. My
Okay.
son's still in the Air Force,
Excellent.
over in Florida at the moment, learning to fly the new P8 Poseidon, which will replace the
Yep.
Orion. So
That's great.
Yeah.
And you went back and you built your little place in
Yeah.
2015.
dream was always to go back home when I finished the military, and so we did, and built some studio bungalows, and then we started our adventure company.
Okay. Where's the location for the...
Our bungalows are over in Rarotonga, which is on the Muri side of the island,
Close to
eastern
Murray
side of
Beach, the
island.
famous Murray Lagoon.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that's where our bungalows are, and then we've got a little cafe, the Flying Turtle Cafe, down
Right.
next to Pacific Resort there. So And our adventure company is based kind of all over the place, depending on what we're doing.
And you've got scooter experiences. You've got. I want to talk to you about the turtles particularly.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, you mentioned to me when we were off here that the snorkeling is sort of the paramount part of what you offer.
Yeah.
And you also said something intriguing. You said from 6 to 60, did you say, or 6 to 80 for some of the events?
We have a family-orientated sea scooter safari inside the safety of the lagoon.
Explain.
And we'll take 6+ children out there. Everyone's mask and snorkel, so no dive gear. Mask, snorkel on our sea scooters. Sea scooters are attached to them, but they have three
Tell me about the sea
speeds.
scooters. Is it the ones? I've seen pictures of them, like a mini torpedo
it's like a little
coming off.
torpedo.
Yeah.
And it's got a little prop on it, but it's inside a cage, and then you put that just below the surface of the water, so the thrust is below you. Engage the motor, and away you go. And then you just steer it.
Have you had a crack yourself?
No, I haven't. I've seen them. You know, they look
I want to
cool, man.
bring it to
What
Aitutaki.
colour have you got,
yeah.
bro?
I want to bring it to Aitutaki. Nick will let me operate
Yeah,
that place.
absolutely.
Yeah, so they're fantastic. And what they do is they allow us to take people to places and see things that they couldn't normally do unless they're strong swimmers.
Of course, yeah.
So in the lagoon, for example, we cover about 1.2 kilometres when we're in the water. Take them through the coral canyons, showing them all the tropical fish. We shoot up, we teach them about the giant clams are regenerating and the coral regenerating after the island suffered from a bit of coral bleaching a few years ago. And then we show them the inside of the reef, then we come on back. So families love it, and kids love it. And we've taken paraplegics on there as well.
Wow.
Who haven't had the opportunity to get back in the water. So that's
That would be
lagoon
amazing. No,
safari.
my daughter's in a wheelchair, so that would be incredible for her to be able to experience something like that. That would be
Yeah,
incredible.
I think it's one of the few places around where so many people are tied up with ticking the boxes, making sure they don't get sued or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas we're willing to give it a go. We've had quite a
Cook
few
Islands.
paraplegics ask
I know
the
that.
question.
Don't worry about Osh and the Cook Islands. Man.
I've experienced that.
I mean, we're safe. We're
I know,
100%
yeah.
safe.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But tell me, the
if we
scooters,
can do
you
it.
got a snorkel, so you're breathing through
Yep.
your snorkel. You
You
don't
want your
dive. You
snorkel.
don't dive with them.
You don't have to.
You could, though?
All of our tours, you can just look down and see it.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
If you're experienced,
you can duck
you
dive
can duck
down,
dive them.
you can see so much more in our
Yeah,
environment.
right.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
So that's our lagoon discovery. And then our most popular snorkeling safari is our turtle safari. Everyone wants to see a turtle, right?
Yeah. I've experienced that, and you think to yourself, a big deal. You can see a turtle, but when you actually see one,
In real life.
a real life one,
in their
it's
own
like,
habitat,
wow,
it's
exactly.
quite different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
big difference.
And so we have 2 of the 4 species of turtles in Rarotonga. Aitutaki's got a few more.
Yeah.
So we have the hawksbill, which is critically endangered.
Yeah.
1 in 10 turtles that we see will be a hawksbill. And then we have the green sea turtle, which is the largest hard-shell turtle in the
And
world.
they come ashore and lay eggs on the...
No, they don't. They used to many, many years ago in Raro, but not
I
anymore.
remember that. They used to nest on the outside of Koramiri.
Really?
But, that doesn't happen.
So no one
anymore.
knows.
But it's good to see them back. I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
they haven't been back for a long time,
Right.
And we're lucky that we've seen over the last 13 months, due to COVID, we've had no tourists, that all of the marine life inside the lagoon and just outside the lagoon is refreshed and regenerated. And lots of
Ready and
turtles,
waiting for people to come and have a look.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now tell me about the night boat paddle. That sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great family environment. And now we're packaging dinner with that particular tour. So you come and order dinner, then you jump on the boards and take families out. You can have little kids on the front of the board and paddle with them as well. So it's not hardcore. And it's all about the ambience at night in the lagoon, And we're lucky enough that even when it's a bit windy, we can hide behind some of the little islands, little motus, and experience the lagoon at night. Sometimes you jump in the water, have a swim. When it's warm enough, it's
And
beautiful.
the water's warm.
Yeah.
Like year round, it's like 26, 27 degrees.
I
kid
know.
you not.
I know.
So,
And
Yep.
at night, sometimes we just sit in the middle of the lagoon and just look at the stars. It's just amazing out there. They seem so close, when you're in Raro.
Yeah. And what
And
else?
Aitutaki.
And Aitutaki.
But
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Don't worry
Do
about
you have
Aitutaki.
diving as well available? Scooter?
Sorry?
Do you do
No,
this?
we don't do. We don't
No?
want to get involved in the scuba side of the house. So our tours are focused solely on snorkeling.
Right.
Our third sea scooter safari we have is in the open ocean. So we start on the northern side of the island at Avarua Harbour by Trader Jack's. We cruise out there into the ocean. Then we cruise about 500 metres along the outside of the reef,
Yep.
checking out the tropical fish. Then we'll head out to where it's about 25, 30 metres deep, but crystal clear, electric blue. If we're going to see any big fish, that's where we'll see it.
I find snorkeling when outside the reef is really...
Sensational.
It is sensational. I'm a little bit agoraphobic, though. When I look down and see...
Yeah, it goes down.
a little bit of a flutter on the old hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Fortunately, there's a couple of little shelves
There
there, but
is.
then there is the drop away.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. It's not like being in New Zealand where you can't see underneath you. When you can see everything around you,
Yeah.
you just feel so much safer. admittedly, we've seen some big fish out there. But last year we had a humpback whale and her calf breach right in front of us.
Wow.
You know, while we're in the water, just
While you're in the water.
magical experience.
That's a life-changing experience,
Oh,
isn't it?
absolutely.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I wish we could guarantee it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, did some work for Nuais, and I've been often thought with Nuais, we could ring up when the plane rains, just ring the humpbacks up. Come on, guys,
Yeah.
come and do your
Yeah.
stuff. The people
Oh, we
here.
do that at Tamana Beach.
I'm sure you do.
9:30 Wednesdays, right in front of the
Nice.
restaurant.
Nice.
Every morning. Yeah.
Okay, so just how would people get hold of you?
So through our website, arikiadventures.com.
Hey, sorry again, Ariki Adventure.
arikiadventures.com.
Yep.
So that's where all of our ventures are. They can book through there. And also for our bungalows, our little studio bungalows, we have Ariki Holidays.
And you've got a special deal on at the moment, I think.
Yeah, so we have a kickstart deal to bring people back in. And it's all about, for us, because we're small, about packaging things together. So if you want to stay with us, then we'll do you a deal on adventure. We'll do you a deal on food as well, because we have the cafe. So we kind of eat, stay and play package where everything is there for you if you want it.
So book direct, or you can book through the local travel agent here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you, Kave. Now we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to return talking to Nick Henry about the Manu Beach Resort and the wonderful island of Aitutaki. I'd like to put in a little word for a friend of mine's property. He's some nice, delightful one for the extended family market, if I can put it that way. It's called the Paradise Holiday Homes, and the website is paradiseholiday.com. That's a mouthful, I know. But Bob has got 4 times 4 bedroom units. They're 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a private pool for each one of them. They're perfect for an extended family holiday in Rarotonga. So that's Paradise Holiday Homes, Rarotonga. He's got a deal going for $365 a night, and that's for up to 8 people. So it's a great deal for a really lovely 4-bedroom villas. Welcome back to the Travel Guys. I'm Mike Hogan, and today we're talking the fabulous Cook Islands, and my guests today are Nick Henry from Tamanu Beach Resort and Kave Tamariki from Ariki Adventures. Now, talking Aitutaki with you, Nick.
Yep.
Firstly, where is Aitutaki, and how do I get there, and why should I go there?
Okay.
There you are.
Aitutaki is, the pearl of the necklace of islands we call the Cook Islands.
Okay.
Yeah,
Beautifully
Aitutaki is the
put.
most beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, she's, Tony Wheeler, right? This travel writer from Lonely Planet. He's been more than 150 countries around the world, seen it all, and the best lagoon, according to him, is Aitutaki's lagoon.
Wow.
That's the reason to come. That's why you come, because the colours, they change every day.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, King, takes a cruise, and he just tells me every day, different colours. Yeah, she changes her skirt. That's what he says. So it's a beautiful island. You have to come.
I have been, and I agree with everything you're saying, but I
Yep.
just want to hear it coming from
Yeah.
the master's mouth.
Yeah, and Tamanu Beach, that's our small family business. Wonderful place to come, family friendly now, and come over and make some wonderful memories. But there's other places to go as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Aitutaki now, we've got a range of accommodation. There's a whole bunch of tours.
Explain some of the tours that you can do. I mean, obviously, One Foot Island and the tour. I've
well-
been out in Lagoon. It's just drop dead. It is.
Yeah, I mean, the tour guide is obviously the co-star, and the lagoon is the star.
Yeah.
And we're just so blessed to have a beautiful lagoon and so many islands to choose from. And the guides all, they all work very, very well. They work well together. When one's coming into One Foot Island, the other ones are going out.
Explain One Foot Island. It's just it's
Okay, yeah. So
It's so
in the
iconic.
lagoon,
Yep.
in Aitutaki Lagoon, for example, it's 9 kilometres from the main island out to 1 foot. So it's a vast lagoon. The deepest is around 60 feet or something like that. There's a few holes around there, but average depth is about 15, 20 feet. And that just gives it really, really stunning colours. Motu means separated or cut off. So those are all the little islands that are cut off from the main island. So 1 foot island, Tapuaitai, is just, it's been voted in the top 10 beaches in the world for 40 years. So if you haven't come, then you just haven't seen one of the best. I mean, New Zealand's got beautiful places, but this is just pristine.
I have had the pleasure of sitting on many years ago when Aitutaki was only really starting to become well known.
We are still starting, starting.
But literally the guy jumped off the side with an old Hawaiian sling spear.
Correct.
Nailed about 3 fish.
Yep.
Got some driftwood. We got the driftwood. We as the guests, we piled the driftwood up. We lit the fire. Yep.
And cooked the fish.
And we cooked the fish over that fire. It was one of the best meals I've had in my life.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's how they used to do the lagoon cruise was, tick, tick, tick. There's 6 guys on board, bang, 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 6 fish on the barbie, and away we go.
That's the sign of a real good tour guide, is to make sure that the guest is doing all the work.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And paying to do it.
And paying to do it.
Mike, I'd like to also talk about some of the other islands in the Cook group. So we've got Achu. Achu is a very different island. Those of you that know Niue, it's very similar to that, a lot smaller, a lot more intimate. There's like 400 or 500 people that live in Achu. A couple of motels there. One of the beauties of Achu is what we call the makatea. This is the raised coral. So basically what happened was, this volcano popped up out of the ocean and it subsided again and then pushed up again sometime later. And as you're driving through, you're actually driving through an old lagoon.
Wow.
That's what it is. So you'll see big bommies, big coral heads and things like that. And that's just amazing. When you get that in your head, there's a Kiwi guy there, Roger Malcolm. He's been there forever, married to a Cook Islander, geologist, I think that's what it is. He's very, very interesting to talk to, and he'll take you all around the island. But there's also Mangaia, our southernmost island and the oldest island in the Pacific, 26 million years old.
Wow.
Mangaia is where my grandmother comes from, so very close to our heart. And it's probably the biggest island in the Cooks, landmass-wise, that is arable, at least. It's kind of hilly, whereas Raro is very steep peaks, majestic peaks. But Mangaia, beautiful, beautiful island. And I remember doing a spiel for them years and years ago. I think it was the year 2000 for the millennium. There was always going to be something big then. Yeah. And at that time we said you'd be one of 2,000 tourists. Well, I think today we still haven't got to 2,000 tourists a year for Mangaia. So,
that's incredible. Yeah. Any other island particularly that?
There was one I was on the other day talking about the turtles. So I went to it's an uninhabited island. It's called Manuai. It's 60 miles off, 60 nauticals off Aitutaki. And there we went and we did a survey. This is during COVID, so nothing else to do, right? So get on these little boats and we shoot off to Manuai. We do a survey on the nesting of these turtles. And that's amazing to find,
How'd you get out there? 60 Ks? Good sized boat?
Yeah, reasonable sized boat, 11 metre. It was a bit of a bus ride, actually, to be honest. It was nice flat water.
Okay.
So, and then a little boat. The passage is narrow. It's narrower than this room. So you've got to shoot in, through the breakers and then into the lagoon. Okay. But, just stunning.
Good one. Just back to your property. I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Can I just say, first, I have stayed at Tamana Beach. I've been lucky enough to stay there. The units are about 3 times the size of my house. Yeah. They're beautifully appointed, you use that term, I think, casual elegance or casual luxury.
Yeah, casual luxury.
It is very casual, but it's really luxury. One question can I quickly ask though, is about weddings. Do you get requests for weddings? Can you handle them out at Aitutaki?
Yeah, we do. We have a group of wedding specialists. We do weddings at the hotels. But there is a company, Bishop's Cruise, and they do an incredible wedding right out on what they now call Heaven's Sandbank. It's a sandbank that has popped out in the last few years. It's just off 1 Foot Island. Incredible.
Fantastic. No, I think that Aitutaki is a very special place. So I
It is.
popped in
Yeah,
there.
it sure is.
Went for a quick beer at a friend's place, Thomas Koteka's.
More than one, I bet.
Well, no, I think it was 7. We're just floating in the lagoon. And
Yeah.
Another beer? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then it was the most magical, blissful afternoon. Okay, thanks so much for coming in, guys. And just before we go, Nick, how do people get hold of you? How can they book? Obviously through your local travel agent or direct to your website?
Absolutely. All those options, everything's on the screen right now.
Okay, we're just about run out of time, but just before we go, Nick, is there any one particular thing that people must do when they go to Aitutaki?
Absolutely, Mike, absolutely. In Aitutaki, if you haven't been on the lagoon, you haven't seen Aitutaki.
Well said.
Yeah.
And Kare, for you?
For us, it's all about swimming with these magical turtles inside our lagoon.
And I knew you were going to say that too. Thanks again, guys, for coming.
Hey,
I'm Mike
thank you.
Hogan. You've been watching The Travel Guys. Thank you for watching.